Chinese leadership often referring to a very kind of cliche-like phrase that past not forgotten is the guide to the future. At least until the 1980s, the two countries have not engaged what we might call history wars that we've seen in the last 2 decades. In other words, they didn't argue over history. If we follow a certain understanding of reconciliation as countries do not engage in sort of the controversy over history, then the two sides seem to have accomplished what I call thin reconciliation. The looming Soviet threat became a major issue to the Chinese communist leadership, as well as, of course, to Japan. And that brought the two together in the wake of the Sino-American rapprochement, the famous visit made by President Nixon after 1989, collapse of the Soviet Empire, Soviet Union, removed one of the binding forces that brought the rapprochement between Japan and China. Starting from the 1990s, we have a rise of China that is becoming seen as a threat to the regional security or to the security of Japan. This is also a period when economic interdependence between the two countries, indeed within the Northeast Asia region, is increasing very substantially. At least that has a positive impact on the leadership when they view the benefit in cooperation on economic matters. Several positive changes are being introduced. The two sides seem to have taken a ceasefire on the history issue, with the understanding that the Japanese Prime Minister would not visit the shrine in the official capacity, and the Chinese would back down from attacking Japan on the history issue. Political leaders, at the moment, they should continue their effort to repair a relationship that has been strained by the resurfaced historical animosity. But also they should design a comprehensive long-term strategy to manage this complex relationship. While trying to minimize the potential of conflict, they should introduce and build mechanisms that will increase common interest and provide a long-term solution to the history problem. Binational reconciliation can benefit from a multilateral forum, because if in a purely bilateral setting, it often can kind of descend into victim versus perpetrator kind of dynamism, whereas put it in a more multilateral or at least regional framework, I would argue the Chinese would realize that they have not always been a pure victim in modern times. The path toward a thick reconciliation between China and Japan remain a long, arduous one. I would argue, in comparison to the thick reconciliation between Japan and Korea, the one between Japan and China is more difficult for various reasons in terms of the geopolitical rivalry, as well as the different political system will still hinder a reconciliation process. That doesn't mean that we simply should wait for the freedom to come to China, as in Eastern Europe in 1989. I think the experience of the dialogue between the communist Poland and then West Germany is an important lesson for China and Japan to start building the foundation for a long-term, thick reconciliation.